Welcome. I'm Vanessa Simone.
I'm Mimi Hayes.
And we are
the Girls Next Pour.
We've been on a Bridgerton kick. If you guys seen, they do Charlie XCX's 360 in a classical rendition, and everybody's been Noodles licking my feet. And
I love the chaos of this episode.
Yes. But yeah, so we were doing our little,
Yeah.
What is on for today's show, Mimi?
Today's show, I'm super stoked about this one. It's about creative failure.
Yes. Fail.
Fuck ups. I think I've been wanting to do this for this one. Well, the idea just came to me very recently, but the second I thought of it, I was like, that's going to be a really fun episode because there are just so many things I have failed at that have made me a better artist and a better person. It's character development.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know where you want to take this, so I want you to kick us off with what's been your most recent failure.
Most recent failure. That's a good question. That's not super recent. I think I'll think of more things.
Okay, or one that you were thinking about that inspired you for this episode.
A failure of mine. So I run a writing business, and I started in 2023. And I kind of had some initial success, like took off with a bunch of new clients, and everyone was super excited. Wow, you're a writing coach. It's so great. Yes, I want to work with you. I wanted to create a course for beginners. I had kind of heard that a great way to make income is not just by individually coaching people, but by setting up these courses. And so I was like, oh, well, a lot of people that come to me, a lot of my clients are newer to writing and they want to write a book for the very first time. So what if I set up a course that's like book writing for beginners? And I looked up other structures of other courses. I thought, okay, 8 weeks. In 8 weeks, I can get them to this certain level of comfortability with being an author. And I started I set it up on my website, how to purchase it. I also discounted it. Like I did a beta price. And I was like, that's some advice I got was like, make a course, make it half off, right? Like as your first course, be like super open about it. Like this is my first course and that I'm running myself. I've taught in other courses by other programs that have their own marketing and their own successful filling of the courses. But I had never done this for myself. And so I set up this course, I put it on the website. I was doing marketing for it. I was doing social media. I was asking people. Nobody signed up. Nobody even remotely tried to sign up. Like, I think maybe I saw one person even looked at my website and nobody bought it. And so I was like, oh, never mind. Okay. And I think what I learned from that was, I probably wasn't ready for that. And I know I wasn't ready because I didn't have the content because I was like, I'm going to make it up as I go. Because that's my style. And I was like, I don't even need to plan 8 weeks of content. I could just do it week by week. And so I had a half-assed plan and I really didn't have the right reach to get strangers. My website isn't great. I'm working on it now, but I've had the same website for 10 years. It's not really compatible with what I was trying to do. So yeah, nobody showed up. It was a ghost town, and then I just didn't do it. So
okay. It's so funny because I'm not laughing at
cool story, bro.
I'm laughing more because it's like I feel like you've tried so many good things though, and the beauty of why I love watching your journey as an artist is because there's nothing beneath you to try,
Yes.
I know that you were disappointed a couple weeks ago because of like your book.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's a huge failure.
Yeah, so that I was like,
like Mimi, you're forgetting something. You actually
but it's
fucked
so
up last
funny
week.
because now when you think about it, you already forgot about it.
I did.
Clearly,
I did.
because
Well,
I
yes,
in
yes
a,
and
in a
no.
way, in a way.
So yeah, this more recently, I've been getting rejected. That probably was the impetus for this episode. I bet. I've been trying to query my second book, and so when you write a book and you want to get traditionally published, you need an agent, and they don't just say yes to everybody. And I've been doing this for a year. I finished my book a year ago, and I started the querying process a year ago once I finished. So I've queried 50 plus, maybe up to 60 agents now, which I feel like isn't a lot. I feel like I could really up those numbers. But I got a rejection last week that really screwed me up, and I crashed out about it actually.
I'm not smiling because I'm reminiscing on last week when we had this conversation.
We were on the phone at book club for The Artist's Way, and I don't even know if failure was involved in the reading, but for some reason I brought up I got 2 rejections in a week, and one of them, like, sometimes they're just basic. They don't tell you any information. And sometimes they're just like, not a fit. Thanks so much. Hope you find your dream agent. Because they hardly look at them. Sometimes they just ghost you. There are queries out there I've sent that are just milling around in someone's inbox, or they've just been deleted. Like, they can't deal with the volume. Sorry, I got the hiccups now. What a failure. They can't deal with the amount of authors in their inbox, and so sometimes they can't give you a personalized rejection. But this one was personalized, and this was also an agent that I follow on social media, and she's a very vulnerable agent in that she kind of lets you behind the curtain, and she's like, here's what agents really want. Here's what I see a million times a day that you should stop doing. Here's what you really need. And I'm like, oh, I should actually pay attention to this, because agents don't just willy-nilly tell you what they want. They expect you to know, but you have no idea what they're looking for or how to write these emails, right? So I've been following her for a while, and I was taking her advice, and I was doing exactly what she told me to do. And I was like, she's going to see this, and she's going to be like, you've been paying attention, to my content. And I finally get a letter back from her. And of course, I know it's going to be a rejection. You just kind of get used to that when you're doing this process. And she says, I'm passing on this, but I'm going to tell you exactly why. Because the market for memoir is extremely tough right now. The environment of marketing a memoir and getting it to sell, you need to have an extreme platform, which basically means you have to be a celebrity, or you have to have a certain level of credibility and research to go along with a memoir. That's called a memoir plus, right? A personal story plus research, and you're like a historian or a professor or something, right? So that doesn't apply to me, and I'm not a celebrity. And so I knew that these things were true about memoir, and I've known that for a long time. But to hear that, like, my book is not marketable, I can't do anything about that. I'm not going to rewrite my book to make it marketable. And I also can't just become famous tomorrow. Like, so what am I going to do with this goddamn book? And so I crashed out about that pretty hard. And I was like, I want this so bad. Like, I've been wanting this, and this is my second book, and I want it to be better than the first. And that's another thing too. My first book was not successful, not that you know that on the surface, but no, it didn't sell. It's not a bestseller. Nobody knows who the hell I am. And I canceled my contract with my publishers because I didn't like them anymore. And I was just like, it's not working out, and I don't want you to have any business in my future writing endeavors. So I pulled a Taylor Swift. I got my rights back, and I've been selling them myself. And that does feel like a failure sometimes, because, I had such high hopes for it. The second you get a traditional publishing deal, the first thing almost every author wants is to be on the New York Times bestseller list. And just the reality of that is, like, you're not going to be a best. No, you're not. Like, you would have to be a fluke for that to happen to you. And certain circumstances have to line up for you, right? For that to even be possible, for them to even consider your book for the New York Times bestseller list, you have to like fit all these categories. They're not going to tell you what those things are. But that's not me. And um yeah, failure to me, I like definitely crash out about it at first because it feels very personal, and it feels
Mm-hmm.
very like, why can't I just figure it out? Why do I have to be writing memoir? Why couldn't I just be like every other author and write fairy smut? Why didn't I just write fairy smut? Why wasn't I smart enough to know that you don't write memoir? My dad asked me because I was crashing out about this at the dog park, and he's like, what advice would you give your clients? And I was like, don't write a memoir because you can't sell it. Now, if you want to self-publish, by all means, write whatever the hell you want because you're the one publishing it. But if you want to be traditionally published, I would not recommend a memoir unless there is a plus element, unless you have the research or you have something different. Like for me, I do have a different structure to my memoir. I do feel like I have put myself in a better position to sell it because it's not, you don't read it from back to front, you read it out of order. It's a
Mm-hmm.
choose your own adventure memoir. Um, but it's not working right now.
As of right now.
And yeah, I'm kind of thinking pivoting is good. Like, not that
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stop sending out queries. That's not what's going to happen. I'm going to continue that. But I'm going to also pay more attention to other projects I have going on right now and use that failure as rocket fuel to inspire me, because what artist do we know and love that has not failed a bunch of times?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all of them. And you think about the careers they had, the jobs they had before, um, even famous authors get, all you need is one yes.
Yeah.
That's all you need. But no, it doesn't feel good. And, I look at my career as a comedian, there's a lot of failure I feel with that. I've been on stages with people that have been on Conan and Jimmy Fallon and all the late night shows, and people getting auditions for SNL and like writing for SNL. I know someone who writes for SNL.
Yeah. I know
What?
someone who acts on SNL
Yeah.
every so long. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like hard to see that sometimes because you're like, well, that's not how my career's
Mm-hmm.
going,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I think I'm in the process of actually developing more failures personally because I'm kind of new to the like redabbling into acting, into singing, into all the things that I wanted to do as a child. So I'm kind of newer in this realm of that side of the arts. However, one of my failures is like being a content creator or influencer, as you say. I've been doing this for years, like since 2014, I think, even maybe earlier. And I'm still like not even at 10,000 followers. Like, it's been a long journey of also trying to figure out my presence and what I am online. And I kind of look at that as my big failure because it's like I've spent so much time putting it out content, putting out things. Um, I learned photography, and then I remember there was one time I got hired to do like a photo shoot for these bags, and my camera failed and like the photos came out terribly.
Mm.
I mean, luckily this company had grace for me, but I was like, "Oh my god, so embarrassed by it." Um and then I never got hired through that photography brand again, but um yeah, and I've done shoots where I'm like, "Oh shit, stuff didn't work or whatever." But I think, yeah, I'm in this new era of figuring out what exactly kind of artist am I? Because I'm still in the process of writing my like fantasy book. I have no idea where the heck that's gonna go. And to be honest, I haven't really thought about that. Um, I am still in the process of getting auditions, and I'm on backstage. Have I gotten anything? No. But I
Mm-hmm.
think this is the I did see somebody who says I aim to try to fail every day because failure is like that practice. And as cliche as it sounds, I know that I want to do so many things in my life. Like with I do want to turn the book into a TV series, but first I got to actually get write the book. I don't know how any of this stuff works on the artist realm, but I'm willing to try. And I think I'm, like I said, I'm in that trying to learn how to fail every day to learn. But it is true. You miss, what is the saying? It's like failure
You miss 100% of the shots you don't
you
take.
don't take. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so like I feel like I'm almost been a failure because I haven't tried a lot. And so I feel like because I'm entering this new era of learning to fail, because I tend to give up easily because I am very much if I'm not the best at it, I don't want to do it. Which is such a terrible attitude to have because that's not how anybody got where they are. And I feel like the last time I actually took a risk and put myself out there and did a nice creative challenge for myself was this past December when in the creator world there's this thing called Vlogmas where you basically take videos throughout your day every day in December and then you edit them and you post them. That was a really hard challenge for me because I'm filming all the day and then at the night I was editing, barely getting sleep, but I did the full 25 days. But I think I need more practice in failure. And so for me, what that looks like is because I do want to be an actress, like one of my dreams is to act in a movie as Nubia, the who she's apparently Wonder Woman's like long lost sister from the Amazon. And she's this black woman who's super fierce, super strong, muscular, fights all the people, fights all the evil forces, and that's one of my dream roles to play. And then I also just want to be in Bridgerton, which would be so freaking cool. Like I don't need to be the Bane, I don't need to be Bane or anything. I just want to be on set. I could be an extra, I don't care. I just want to be
to
like
do that little dance.
yeah, I just want to, do that. And I just
have
want
my
to
hair in
right cool,
big
intricate,
piece.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately I just want to be able to look back on my life and say I did try. And I feel like the last time I tried something huge for myself was when I moved to New York City. I feel like that's the last time I did something for me and not for my parents or for what society tells me I should be. And I feel like I'm starting to re-get into like the creative realm that I used to grow up with because I used to act. I used to sing, I used to dance, I used to do all those things and I loved it. And then somewhere along the way it got dismantled. So I'm back as a 35-year-old with big dreams thinking like I can do this. And I also want to do more films on my own. Um I love seeing so I took this aptitude test maybe 10 years ago and one of the things it said that I am good at is color. And so because and I think that's why I love photography is because I love seeing the colors, the contrast of colors. And so now I want to take it to a new level of doing more film on my own and filming things and figuring that out. Like what does it look like to film a little project or something like that. And then the color grading and learning just a new skill. And so I I am in the process of learning my new failures, but I think my biggest failure is truly not listening to my inner self and going after my inner self. But I have learned that now, and now I'm realizing that and taking that action. So, because I don't want from 35 on, I want to look at my life and say, I did try every single thing I wanted to try. And I think that is going to make myself proud more than anything I've ever done. Because most of my life has been more for pleasing other people. And so,
Yeah,
yeah.
and even like you rack up the failures and like I just did, I totally forgot that happened. like like and
She
then
was in tears last
I
week
was
about
in
it,
tears.
like
I
distraught.
was distraught.
And to see a week later,
And
wait,
I'm like,
what?
oh, there was this one time my course didn't sell, but like that's not even the biggest failure I've ever had. And I've had so many failures now that I'm like getting like into the mindset of that. Like there've been so many shows that people have not showed up for. I've canceled shows at festivals because I went from having a packed audience to the next day I had to cancel my show because literally nobody showed up.
Mm.
And that's what Fringe is. You know, the Edinburgh Fringe Festival is you're competing with so many other people's stage time. And when you're a nobody like me, you know, you don't have a built-in audience, and so like that's a failure. I filmed my first show for my documentary, and 8 people showed up. Now, I love every single one of those 8 people, but I was so messed up about that because I wanted 50, 60 people in that crowd, 100 people in that.
Mm.
I wanted,
Mhm.
you know, because also I know the energy, I get so much more energy from a big crowd, but
Mhm.
sometimes not. I would say, like, because I just went, you know what, let's give your whole show, it's the same show for 8 people that it is for 800. You know, it's just, it's more intimate. And so I pivot when I feel like I'm like, okay, that just didn't happen for you. You didn't get the crowd you wanted. What are you going to do about it? You have to put on the show anyway.
Mhm.
And so there's been so many other failures I've had. People not showing up for me. I've been to auditions, I haven't gotten the part. I've been cut next to last. It took me 3 times to get a TED talk. I was X'd 3 times, and one time they told me you were like the last person cut, and I'm like, don't ever say that to me again, like, because I
Jeez.
was this close, right? Like you're this
Mhm.
close. I got contacted to do a second TED talk, and they approached me, and then
Mhm.
they later rejected me, and I was like, you contacted me. I thought you wanted me for the
Yeah.
TED talk, and now you don't want me, you know. And oftentimes, almost every time, it has nothing to do with you,
Mhm.
you know, like, and maybe it's a skill that you're lacking, maybe it is something that you could work on, but sometimes your failure, it just is the way it is, and all the artists we know and love have failed. um, their movies have been total flops and box
Mhm.
office embarrassments.
Yeah.
And you know, films that don't get accepted into film festivals that end up
Mhm.
going on to win Academy Awards when nobody wanted to touch it with a 10-foot pole. I mean,
Mhm.
that's just part of being an artist, is
Yeah.
getting rejected and failing.
Mhm.
And the fact that you're trying to do it intentionally is really encouraging to me. I do this in my personal life also, by asking men out in the wild.
Yeah, she
And
does.
this is my form of torture, is that I just, because I'm also just, you know, sick of the dating apps, but I also, it builds my confidence to go get rejected by somebody. I'll find a hot guy. I'll go up to him and say, hey, are you single? You know, I'll keep it pretty simple. Hey, I saw you from across the room. Are you single? You're not single, are you? I'll say it that way to him. You're
Mhm.
not, you couldn't possibly be single. And they'll be like, no, I'm not single. And I'm like, okay, well, you're hot. Like, okay.
Mhm.
Um,
Rejection therapy. It's a
and
good practice.
but
I
they
am.
always
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Mhm.
Almost every single time they appreciate it, and they're like, hey, thank you. Like, it builds my confidence. They start talking to me, and they're like, hey, that's so nice of you. What's your name? You know, and it just, you then you move on with your life.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's actually a beautiful thing to practice rejection therapy because I actually have this list now that we're talking about failures of 1,000 between brands, jobs, whatever that I want to just do and try, and I'm just putting it out there, not expecting all 1,000. But when you realize how much rejection it takes to get somewhere, because I'm filling out this Excel spreadsheet, I'm only at like 170 something between brands, opportunities, things that I have listed out and done. I'm not even at 200 yet. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking to myself, I have to fill this out to 1,000. You know, wow, it's a lot to 1,000 different opportunities or things to try to do and be rejected by. It's a lot, but it's um building that confidence as well, because I'm like, okay, well, if I don't get this, onto the next. Like, actually, a few weeks ago, Laura and I went to Vale, and we were trying to get a hotel. And it was so funny because we were reaching out to all these different hotels. Not one was like, who the heck are you? You know.
Mm-hmm.
And then we come to find out, we see like celebrities are there. Oh, okay, I see why we're not there yet. But just the practice of, okay, just reaching out and trying is also just a huge step too, because even with trying, you don't know, with everything that you try, you're also learning, and you are taking whatever you learned to go into the next thing. So like with every audition, like I'm still getting used to doing self tape, and it's so different acting out something on a screen versus when I just take up my camera and on TikTok just start talking. It's
Mhm.
very different to have to memorize something rather than just winging it. And even our podcast, learning to wing it
Mhm.
and just go with it, and looking back on our first few episodes and realizing, oh man, I use a lot of filler words, and correcting that. So with every single thing I'm doing, I'm just trying to learn and grow. But I think the number one thing right now for me is just try the things that you've always wanted to try, but you haven't because you've been told that's not worth your time, or that doesn't make you money, or that's not a good career to have, or whatever those things are. I'm just like, fuck it.
Mhm.
I'm doing it.
And there's so much value in failing and then trying again. And
Mhm.
so like I'm up for this really cool opportunity right now with this entertainment lab, and I've applied twice before. So they know my ass. And they're
Mhm.
like,
They know.
"Hi." And I'm like, "Hello." I finally got to the interview round, after
Mhm.
trying twice before. And, I don't know what they're looking for. I don't know what their criteria is. I clearly wasn't a good fit the past two times I tried, but this time I was like, "Hey, I'm back." And they liked that. They were like, "Hey, you've applied a few times,
Mhm.
like what do you really want from this?" And I was like, "This is a cool opportunity. Like I think I'm really well suited for this, and this is my time, and you know, I want to get this and this and this out of it, and if I don't get it, I will try again." The next opportunity, that window is open.
Mhm.
My ass will be in your inbox. And
Mhm.
they like that. That's what they want to see. And when you get used to, okay, all right, it's great, one more. I got to tell this story too. When I first started writing and querying agents, my friend Krista and I were doing this at the same time. She'd been doing it for a decade, so she had like hundreds of rejections at this point for her novel and her memoir. And I had just started, and she said, "Let's play this game where every time one of us gets rejected, the other person owes us $1 in a virtual piggy bank." And so when you get that email that says, "Sorry, I don't want this because it's not marketable," you email me and say $1, or forward even the rejection. I'll
Mhm.
forward the rejection to her and I'll be like, $1. Or this one's worth $2 because she personalized it. She
Mhm. She
personalized her
person.
rejection. So that's worth $2. And then we owe each other this money. And then when one of us gets published, the other person takes them out to dinner. And so when I got published, that money that you saved up for them, right? So I've got 30 rejections, that's a $30 dinner, you know.
Mhm.
And it doesn't have to be perfect, but like the sentiment is like, I'm rooting for you, and every time you get rejected gets you closer to your goal. And so I'm
Mhm.
keeping track of that. And so my best friend bought me a lovely fondue dinner when I signed my first book deal. And, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And nothing can take away from that, right? Even though down the line, I wasn't happy with how things were dealt with, and I would have liked a bigger
Mhm.
publisher, and I would have liked an agent, and I would have liked someone to do PR, like instead of me doing everything
All of the
myself.
things. Mhm.
Um, that's still gonna happen. There's
Mhm.
still potential for that. I just have to keep going. I can't quit now while I'm so close,
Mhm.
because I've come so far from
And
where
now
I
you
was a
know
decade
too,
ago.
because now you know like the roles of an agent, PR person, all those things that help a, aid with the success of a book as well. So
And I have some experience,
yeah.
like
So you know what
it's
it's
not for
like,
nothing.
and you know what not to accept, and you know what to look out for when you see a new agent or publicist or anything, because you've
hmm
had that experience too.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna keep getting rejected. I know when my film is done, I'm gonna submit to Sundance and I'm gonna submit to all the big film festivals. I'm gonna get rejected from every single one of them.
Yes.
And that's just a fact. Like, I think the film festivals have changed in the past couple of years, and they're more gate kept now. So you don't even get looked at if you're an indie
Mhm.
filmmaker in some of these places, but it's not going to stop me. It's not going to stop me from doing it.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I want to talk about too when other people project their failures onto you. Is that
Oh
something we
yeah.
could talk about for two
Mhm.
seconds? What do you think about that?
Well, I think with anything, people are always going, they do it out of fear. And sometimes it could be the people who are closest to you who, because I remember when I wanted to live in New York City, my dad was like, "You're going to last 6 months and you're going to hate it and come home." And I was like, "What?" And I don't know what that was because I'm like, "Dad, you literally moved from the tiniest country in the Caribbean to the United States. I'm just moving to a different state."
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, where did that fear come from him to do that? I mean, anytime I've traveled, people are like, that country is blah, 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 blah. And I go there and I have the best time and I don't want to leave. I think it's the same thing that happens with being an artist. People, I remember, wanting to be an actor, wanting to be a singer, all those, just an all around entertainer when I grew up. And my parents were like, that's not a career that you can have. You can do that as a hobby. And, but that was their fears because they were on survival mode. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's being, almost having this discernment, and your dream or your goal is inside of you and it's not inside of anybody else. And so people are going to project, but I think it's up to you to be so laser focused on the dream, on the goal, on the vision, and especially because it's coming from your soul. It's what keeps my soul alive, is doing
Mm-hmm.
these things, and I'm just good at it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm better at those things that I love doing. I can't fake it. I tried to fake that I'm not, but that I'm
Mm-hmm.
good at these things that I'm supposed to be good at, and it doesn't work. It
Mm-hmm.
just doesn't work because I don't like it. I don't care. I don't
Mm-hmm.
have the passion for it. I just don't care.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, where are you gonna go with that?
Well, my last breakup, I
Mm.
heard the meanest shit I've ever heard from another human during the breakup, and it had to do with my art. And so
Mm.
during the breakup, you know, things are happening very fast. These words are being exchanged, and I'm just on my bathroom floor crying, just snot coming out of every orifice. And he's like, "You're never, what are you even doing? You can't even focus. Your book's never going to be a bestseller. Your film is never going to get made. You think you're
Mm-mm.
going to go to Sundance? Who the fuck are you kidding?" And he called me a fart in the wind. Can you believe this? A fart in the wind. Him of all people. And this is coming from another artist. And I think it took me a long time to see that what he was doing was projecting his
Mm-hmm.
failure, because he was so jealous of some of the things that I was doing. He wanted to write a book. He wanted to do a one-man show. He wanted these things that I had done.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of going out and doing them or supporting me in a realistic, in a truthful way, at the end, he just threw a grenade at me, and
Mm-hmm.
I just took it and I was like, oh my God, what do you mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it hurt. And I'm still healing from that. I still hear that voice. You're never going to be a bestseller. You're never, you're never. And it's like, well, that is a load of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so it can be hard, especially if you're like newer to things, or you're trying to, like, you have to be bad at something to
Yeah,
get good at it.
exactly.
So, like, for someone to say that to me, it's like, I'm still so fragile. I'm still working my way into these systems and these industries. And who are you to say anything? You're not the
Mm-hmm.
gatekeeper. You're not checking out the film festival submissions at Sundance. What the fuck do you know? And you're just saying that because you're intimidated, or you're upset, or you
Mm-hmm.
want something that I have, and tearing me down feels like a better option to make yourself
Right.
feel better. So you can't take the rejection or whatever words come at you from whoever, family, and sometimes they feel like they're being well-meaning, but they
Mm-hmm.
can really wreck your confidence. And I got that too with New York. You're gonna last 6 months. You're never gonna make it.
Mm-hmm.
Look at us now.
Yeah, the only reason we left was because a global pandemic.
Yeah, that's the only thing that could stop us.
Mm-hmm.
We'd still be
So,
there. It took a global pandemic
pandemic,
to get us out of
like
New
the
York
world
City.
shutting down.
Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah. to conclude, you need to follow your dreams. Your soul is going to thank you for just trying and going after it. The failure is just a part of it. But as artists, that's our duty. It's our calling. We're supposed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I love it. Let's go fail some more.
yes. And cheers to the girls next pour.
Oh, I forgot
Sorry.
to say it.
Do you want to say it again? Wait, ready? 1, 2, 3. This is
The girls next pour. Nailed it.